All right, so what we have here for the setup for this particular project is I have a warp that's considerably longer than most of you would put on for a sample. This actually started as a 3-yard long warp. I have obviously used my waste yarn to spread my warp out. I have done a hem stitch. The first one we're going to do is the looped pile, and I've been seeing this one a lot on Facebook recently, so it seemed like it might be a good one to start with. Plus, it's also one of the easier ones to do. So I just have a few picks of plain weave here, nothing fancy. I'm going to start off by using a thicker, slightly thicker weft. This is the yarn that we're going to be using to make the loops. On this particular looped pile, I'm going to leave a fairly long tail. And the idea would be that once I take this off the loom and before I wet finish it, I would probably thread this into a tapestry needle and just thread it up through the back side of the warp somewhere just to get it out of the way. And then we can decide how often you want to pick up your loops for a looped pile. This is actually an Afghan hook, so it's used for Tunisian crochet. I have a couple in different sizes. This one was the longest, so we're going to try to make this work. If you don't have a knitting needle at all, you can use a bamboo skewer. Packages of them are available at the grocery store. If you don't have very thick ones, but you've got a lot of thin ones, bundle a few of them together. Tape them together, like tape 4 or 5 of them together. The point isn't to use a specific size needle necessarily. The point is to give you something over which to make consistent loops. Okay, so what we want to do then is you don't pick up a loop between every single warp thread. You want to skip a few. So I'm going to start with the second space here, the second stitch that's sort of showing. I'm going to pick that up and I am going to place that over my hook or my knitting needle or my skewers, whatever you're using for a tool. And this is how we're going to make our loops. So I'm going to do every other. So I've skipped 2 warp ends that are raised, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up another loop. Now, I think there's a lot of sense in making the loops they're going to have to be twisted on your needle somehow, right? Because we're picking up sideways, but the place we're picking up is vertical, right? So I'm going to be consistent. I've not read that this is important, but it makes sense to me to put some consistency in this. So for this first round, I'm going to go consistent and always try to make sure that the leading edge is the one going under my needle. In other words, I'm kind of leaning from lower right to upper left as I make my loops. And I'm just going to do this in every other warp. So I'm skipping 2 raised warp threads. And actually, once you get this started, this goes pretty quick. Your needle may not be long enough to do all the loops on one needle. If that is the case, I would probably find something like a smaller needle or an extra, like for instance, I have an extra knitting needle here. Not the same size as the loop I'm using, but at least it would hold them in place. So if I need to take this out to start over, I could just come through here and just pick up those loops after they fall off and hold them with another needle. But the instructions that I have read and everything I've looked at suggests that you want to keep a needle or something in your loops once they're made, and you want to try to keep it in there until you have beaten as best you can with the needle in place your picks before you start your plain weave pick, the next one, which is going to be with the doubled 8-2 cotton. And these are not, again, a lot of times these finger controlled weaves are not fast, but the effect is just way too cool, right? So we're going to beat as best we can, And then I'm going to slide out my hooks, being very careful with this one because it's got a hook on it. And now, rather than disturb anything here, I'm going to go ahead and put my heddle in the up position, which is the other shed. And I am going to come under my pattern yarn and I'm going to come through the shed. And I'm going to beat normally. And there is my row of loops. Now the loops aren't super big, but we're going to keep doing this for multiple rows. So now we have a decision. Do we want to do another plain weave pick in between our loops? Do we want to do all the loops in the same shed, which would mean they would all be in the down shed? This is where you really kind of need to play with this, especially if you're going to be doing a project and you have a specific look that you want in mind. And I'm going to come back through and work this in the same heddle down shed that I was in before. I'm also going to just stack them up in rows. A lot of the fluffiness of your loops is going to come from how big a needle, so how large a loop you make, how thick your yarn is. If you use a considerably thicker yarn, you would probably get considerably floofier loops. So here are all of my ends. They're on my hook. I'm going to go ahead and beat this as best I can. And then I'm going to winkle this out. And now we'll put a pick in the next shed here. I'm going to put my thread under my pattern yarn just so I kind of doubly lock that into place. And there we go. And you can see I've got loops and non-loops, loops and non-loops. Okay, so now we're going to pick up the loops in the channel where we have been skipping before. So we're going to stagger them. I think what will happen is it will make a fluffier pile. I mean, we have so little pile here, I'm not sure you can really see a whole lot of difference, but I bet you we'll be able to see a difference from this. So I'm not going to pick up the very edge one. That just seems like bad luck. It just doesn't seem like a good way to treat the edge. I think we need to at least have one or two threads in before we start this piling process. So I'm making sure now that the place where I pick up the loop is where we didn't pick up a loop on the first two picks that we did this with. So coming in from the left, we'll be following the first order, and coming in from the right, you would be following this new order. Okay, so you can already see there that those two rows look much tighter together and a little less structured because we have staggered those loops. So we'll do that again. And I'm pretty much treating my selvage edge the way I would always treat a selvage edge, and then just leaving this as loose as I can out here so that I don't have a wonky selvage. I'm pulling the loops back so you can see that this time I'm picking up the ones that were not picked up last time. So we're basically working a staggered loop pile. Oh, I'm liking the look of this. This is actually rather fun. It is slow, but it is rather fun, and I'm kind of liking this. I'll do one more row with it plain. My plain weave pick is an upshed, so we'll do the plain weave pick. And then this time we'll do a downshed as well. So I'll do 2 picks of plain weave in between my pattern rows. But you can see once I started staggering them, we've got a really nice. I would probably like to have, for this particular yarn, a slightly thicker, a slightly bigger loop. If I were going to use this for, say, something like a bath mat. But now let's work this from left to right, and let's try doing it with in the upshed and see what actually happens here. So we won't be able to choose the channels the same way we chose the last time. So I'm going to basically do what I did on the first row, which is I'm going to start every other one. I'm going to count this outer one as a channel, and the second one will be the one I pick up. So that's going to get me a shade closer to the edge, but I'm not actually on the edge. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do every other again. So skipping every other warp thread. Also a great technique if you were going to do something like tapestry, because again, it's a finger controlled technique. If you were going to be messing around with tapestry in any way, this would be kind of a fun one to add in.